Hi guys, and today we're going to be doing a more basic video, being ranking every total drama season, because why not? Also, if you want to, tell me your rankings in the comments. Also, I won't be counting total drama-rama. Never seen it, and never want to watch it. Saw like one clip on YouTube Shorts, and let's just say I was definitely traumatized. Definitely traumatized. But actually getting into the ranking, my least favorite, in my opinion, the worst season, is All Stars. Honestly, All Stars and the next one can swap places, because I have almost the same opinions on both of them. All Stars was just a disappointment. It was a really cool idea, but it was not handled well. To be completely honest though, the first couple episodes weren't that bad, but it kept getting worse and worse as the episodes went on. We saw some pretty bad character development this season. Like somehow they made Lindsay more dumb, made Heather dumb, and made Alejandro weaker. And don't even get me started on Mal. I feel like Mal could have been handled well, but they just didn't. He was also super strong for like no reason. I was never like a huge fan of Mike, but his other personalities were pretty cool, and had something to like about them. But Mal was definitely the worst, and I just did not like Mal at all. And probably one of the worst villains in my opinion. We also have Zoe being clueless. I don't know how Zoe did not figure it out about Mal. You're literally Mike's girlfriend and you know him, and it really took her that long to figure it out. She didn't figure it out herself. I think Alejandro like told her. Then we also still have some drama between like Courtney, Gwen, and Duncan. Like, I don't know why we still needed it. Not all the characters were bad. Like Scott and Layton weren't bad. Some smaller problems I had of the season was how small the cast was. Definitely for like an all-star season. Kind of wish they had more contestants. Even 2 more additions would have been better. But I get there's only 13 episodes, so they probably just want to have like a smaller cast. Also, in my opinion, this season had the worst final 2. Number 1, Mike and Zoe were couples. Number 2, Mike wasn't even Mike for most of the season. It was mostly Mal. I guess between both of them, Mike can get the crown for worst winner. I don't like hate Mike, but Mal just really brought him down in my opinion. Just overall a bad season with very small things I liked. I do want to say, if you like a season and I ranked it super low, that's absolutely fine. We all have different tastes, and I'm actually glad you guys enjoy some of these seasons, which I don't like. But this season really was just not meant for me. Next is another season I don't like, being Pahkitew Island. I feel like no one is surprised these are the bottom 2 of my ranking, and most people would agree these were really bad seasons. My biggest problem this season was the cast. I just overall did not like the cast. We have characters like Dave, Leonard, Amy, and Rodney. Also, just didn't find this season entertaining, and it was honestly kinda weird. To be fair though, I have only seen this season once, so maybe I should give it a second chance, but I just don't know. However, the only reason why this season beats All Stars was because of Jasmine and Sean. I absolutely love Jasmine. She's my top 5 favorite total drama characters. Overall, a really good character. Also, and Sean and Jasmine's relationship was very well written in my opinion. But those 2 characters were the only 2 things I actually enjoyed about the season. I guess characters like Scarlet, Sky, and Topher are alright, but they really had to ruin Scarlet by making her this horrible, super evil villain for like no reason. It's hard for me to like this season when I don't enjoy most of the cast. A good cast is important to me, and Pahkitew Island was just not it. Next up is Original Island. Original Island is definitely not bad, but I just don't love the season. It was nice seeing a new cast, and the cast was pretty good. Honestly, wasn't a huge fan of the mutation theme of the season, and I just couldn't really get into the season. I did like some characters like Layton, Joe, Brick, and Dawn. We also had missed my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather this season. We did have some good interactions like Joe and Brick, and Joe and Layton, but the others were just alright. I found Zoe and Mike just alright. They're honestly kind of boring most of the time. Mike's different personalities were cool, and I didn't find Zoe interesting until she became Commando Zoe. The rest of the characters were just alright, like Sam, Anna Maria, Dakota, B, and Cameron. They were just alright. Then there's Scott. I used to hate Scott when I first watched Reboot Island. I really didn't like how he always made his team lose, and I found it very uninteresting. Because we already know Scott's team was going to lose the challenge, like it was no surprise. But Scott has definitely grown on me, and him losing the challenge was a pretty unique idea. However, still not the biggest fan of that idea, and something total drama probably shouldn't do again. But Scott was a pretty good villain and was different from characters like Heather and Alejandro. Then we have the final two, being Lighten and Cameron. Didn't hate this final two, but I found it just alright. Lighten was definitely the character I liked more out of the two. He was just a more fun character and pretty funny at moments. But I do give credit to this final. The challenge was really cool and actually very enjoyable. Overall, Revenge of the Island was just alright season. Definitely don't hate it, but it just has to be on the lower end of my list. After Revenge of the Island is Total Drama Action. Action was pretty good season, but it had some problems. My biggest problem this season, it felt very long for like no reason. There was way too many non-elimination rounds, and at moments it got kind of boring. But that's really all the complaints I have for this season. We saw some really good improvement for characters like Justin and even Lindsay, except for Trent. He did the opposite. They did him really dirty. But going back to Justin, he was just so amazing and funny this season. It was nice having a more comedic villain. Then Lindsay was also very enjoyable and probably my favorite character this season. Her rivalry with Courtney was very fun and I actually did enjoy it. Speaking of Courtney, I know people don't like Action Courtney, but honestly I didn't hate her. She definitely had her problems and could be annoying at times, but she was overall a pretty good character. Also, characters like Carol, Lashana, and Heather were really good. So then I have to get credit for actions are the interactions, like Beth, Justin, and Lindsay, Heather, Harold, and Duncan, and there's so many more too. Just in general, the movie theme of the season was pretty cool. Wait, I actually do have another problem this season. It is Owen. I really didn't like Owen this season, and for some reason they decided to bring him back. Like, okay, I guess you can do that. But let's lastly talk about the final two, being Duncan and Beth. Honestly, the final episode was just alright, but I don't hate Duncan and Beth as winners. Beth and Duncan were just alright this season, but I guess they can work as winners. There's definitely better choices, but I guess the one they chose could work. Overall, a pretty good season. After Action are the really good to amazing seasons. Seasons that I absolutely love. But I have to give Reboot Season 1 5th place. This season was perfect for a reboot. A nice way to bring back the season, and us Total Drama fans can finally be happy again. I have to give props to this season, just because how much I love the cast. I still stand by that the reboot overall had the best cast. Don't really hate any character. Reboot Season 1 we had really good characters like Bowie, Julia, Priya, and Z. It was actually nice to see a character start off nice and later see her real self. Season 1 Julia was one of my favorite villains. The interactions between the cast were pretty good and did a good job making Total Drama a little bit more modern. I haven't really been talking about the challenges, but I actually enjoy most of the challenges this season. Definitely the Pirate Challenge, I absolutely love that episode. The character interactions were just so good and the challenge was just fun. Except for like the Eden Challenge in that horrible and traumatizing Jurassic Park episode. I can never recover from that episode. That episode was one of my biggest problems this season. Why did they make a whole episode about farting? Who thought that was a good decision? I guess the only good part was like the Julia scene. Going back to when I said I didn't hate any characters this season, which is kind of true if you count Reboot Season 2, but Season 1 Ripper was a different breed. I did not like him and just found him super gross. But everyone else in Season 1 was pretty enjoyable. Yes, even Chase. Also have to give props to the season. They had the second best final two characters in the season, being Bowie and Priya, both amazing characters. Were they a predictable final two? Yes. But that doesn't stop them from being really good. Also, Priya winning was just amazing and felt really happy for her. Overall, a really good comeback for the Total Drama series. It just can't beat the other seasons. The next one is technically not part of the main series, it is a spin-off, but I am counting it in the ranking. Being a ridonculous race. This season was really good, and it was nice seeing Total Drama do something different. This season had a huge cast. Some of them are good, and some of them are pretty forgettable, like the tennis guys. But this season was just enjoyable, and I honestly really want a season 2. I don't think we're getting a season 2, but I just need it. The idea of running and traveling to different places and having to work as a duo was really cool. We get to see some really good interactions between the partners and the other teams. Some of my favorite characters were the sisters, the goths, and the ice dancers. This season also somehow made me like Noah and Owen. This is the only season where I like Owen, and Noah got huge improvement. We also had Jeff return, which was nice, and him and Brody were just goofy characters. I really like how they brought familiar faces, but also having a lot of new characters. There was just in general a lot of different personalities, so there is probably a character for everyone to like. But going back to Jeff and Brody, I love these characters, but them as winners aren't my favorite. I just don't like how they came back pretty late and won. But the police cadets were pretty good winners. Speaking of the cadets, I really liked the interactions with the ice dancers. They had a lot of good interactions and pretty funny moments. The last thing was a pretty big change for this season. It was having a different host. Chris is a classic and pretty enjoyable host in earlier seasons. But Dawn was actually a good host, and I had like no problems with him. Honestly, again, a pretty good host. This was just overall a fun and enjoyable season. Next up might be the most questionable placement, since people generally don't like this season, but I don't care. I absolutely love this season, being Reboot Season 2. The reboot in general was just amazing, and I do enjoy both seasons, but I do like Season 2 better. The first 5 episodes were amazing and top tier episodes. The first episode is probably the best first episode we ever had. Then I do have to say the episode did go downhill slightly, but I still really enjoyed them. There's not a single episode I hate this season. We got so many good characters interactions, which I really like. We had Priya and Caleb. I know people don't like these two, but I actually really enjoyed their screen time. And they did a really good job proving Caleb. And yes, Priya won Season 1, and don't hate me, but I honestly think Season 2 Priya is better than Season 1 Priya. Then we have MK and Julia. Would never suspect these two to be friends, but they actually made it work. They worked really well with each other and had some really enjoyable moments. Bowie, Raj, and Wayne interactions were pretty good this season too. It was nice seeing Bowie feel bad for cheating because of Raj. This season also had almost a perfect pre-merge elimination order. And just in general, the elimination order was pretty good. Even though I really liked this season, there are some small problems I had with it. Axel and Ripper weren't my favorite, and Priya should have maybe got eliminated earlier. But to be honest, I didn't mind her getting 4th place, but just in general, it's probably a problem this season. Then something very underrated this season are the challenges. This season in my opinion had the best challenges. They are top tier. They're all pretty fun challenges and were pretty creative. Don't hate any of them. We have Wayne winning the season. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Wayne winning, it is nice to sometimes have a more surprising or comedic winner. It honestly sucks seeing this season get so much hate. There's only like few people I know that really like this season, like for example Let Chang. Also, if you like Reboot Season 2, you have very good taste in total drama seasons, just saying. Overall, amazing season, but just can't be the other two, probably because of nostalgia and just how much I enjoyed this season in general. Getting 2nd place is the first season of Total Drama, where Total Drama all started and has so many great memories watching this season as a kid. Being Total Drama Island, even though I might be a little biased because of nostalgia, but just in general, it was actually really good. The characters worked really well this season. Some of my favorite characters like Heather, Lashana, Lindsay, Gwen, and Duncan. Definitely Heather. Heather was a really good start to how villains were working in Total Drama. She made the show entertaining and didn't mind playing dirty. Was a mean girl, but also super smart. This season also has so many iconic scenes, like Lindsay yelling at Heather or Heather shaving her head. And how can we forget about Mr. Coconut? Lily carried the season on his back. The characters just worked well this season. There were some bad characters this season like Sadie, Katie, and Justin, but overall this cast was really good. Also, Gwen and Owen were pretty good first winner choices. Even if I don't like Owen, he wasn't a horrible winner to win the first season, and actually showed that anyone can win. It is a really good season and had a lot of great memories, but it can't get 1st place just because how much I love the next season. Getting 1st place is World Tour. Is this a super basic pick? Yes, but I do not care. This season definitely had problems, but Heather and Alejandro carried this season so hard. Heather and Alejandro are my top 2 favorite characters in Total Drama history. Their rivalry was so good, and just in general, really good characters this season. And seeing this powerful new villain being Alejandro was nice. I still think Alejandro was the best villain we ever had in Total Drama. They also somehow made a way to make Heather seem less evil, and gave her some root ability. Heather was already amazing in Season 1, but honestly liked the development she got on World Tour. Speaking of these two, in my opinion, they are the best final 2 we ever had. Number 1, they are just amazing, and number 2, this is the first and probably only time we're going to have 2 villains in the final. And sometimes I like seeing villains win in total drama. Another thing I really liked about this season was the theme. I love the traveling idea, and it was cool to see challenges in different parts of the world. We also had singing in this season. I know some of the songs were cringe and bad, but I honestly liked them. Like, We Built Gwen Face was surprisingly a banger. I do hope we get another season where the contestants sing. I think it would just be super fun. Even though I'm talking super positive about the season, there was some negatives. Team Victory was pretty bad, and honestly, if you weren't Heather and Alejandro, this wasn't your season. And how can we forget about the lovely love triangle? But overall, I still really enjoyed this season. I definitely seen this season the most. I watch it probably like 20 times, and I enjoy it every time I watch it, every time. But we finally finished our ranking every season. And we all know my ranking is perfect. So if you hate it, you're just wrong. Just kidding. We all have different opinions, and I would like to know what are your guys' opinions on each season. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing. See you guys next time.